For some, the prospect of leaving a country they have spent most of their childhood in and having to move to a completely different part of the world would be difficult, perhaps feeling like the whole world had been concocting some clandestine scheme to ruin their lives in a display of injustice and spite. But not me. When I moved from England to Australia after turning 8 years old, of course I felt torn and distraught leaving behind family and friends, watching as we had to depart from loved ones amidst tears and high-intensity emotions, asking the taxi driver to open the windows on the passenger side for the last time to wave our final goodbyes. But as soon as I arrived in Ascot, later making the move to Nunda, I felt like I never wanted to return. My old home in England was a distant and faint memory by now. For me, it was a place of family stress and unhappiness, a place where my parents worked in jobs they didn't enjoy, and a place where I grew to hate the school I went to. Brisbane gave me a new lease on life. My parents were living in a stress-free environment, enjoying working for a change, and I found that moving schools was a chance for me to turn a new page. Both Nunda and Ascot are two places in Brisbane that mean the most to me. Thinking of Ascot, I think of times where I would walk from my house in the late afternoon sun with my sister to Oriole Park, spending the rest of the day hanging from monkey bars and taking turns on the swing, until all I could see were the last remnants of an indistinct orange and red tint from the sunset, and the brief colours of dusk fading away as the sun dipped below the horizon. And thinking of Nunda, I think of the time and effort it took to renovate the house, taking my dog on walks to the park and showing my grandparents the new area and house when they came to visit. Things that might seem insignificant to others, but have sentimental value to me. It's important to me because I can reflect on how my life has changed since then, looking back with a fresh pair of eyes like a child does when it is first introduced to this world, and understand myself better. It is what makes me unique and who I am. After completing primary school, I was enrolled in Churchie in Year 8. There has always been an onus placed on me by my parents and by the school that I must work hard, set standards high, and only then achieve success and happiness. I have made close friends at Churchie, and I feel honoured to be a part of the community here, proudly wearing the blue and grey and blending amongst the plethora of Churchie boys. But I ask myself, is happiness something I can expect myself to find if I follow the status quo? I tire of it all, the mundane existence of Churchie life. I find that some part of me has been lost in all of this, but I continue to revert to the cycle of sleep, school, and study that is by now so ingrained in me that it's all I know. I wish I could somehow escape from the confines of my school, spread my wings and feel the air on my face as I run free in a bout of irrational, crazy, stupid passion. But I do not know if I am ready for such an adventure. I fear I am not ready to take such a bold risk as this, to be left stranded and alone, all by myself away from home. I fear moving away because of what it means, so I ask the question, do I see my future in Brisbane? Reading the poem Do Not Go Into That Light by Dylan Thompson in Year 12 English, it taught me that I must challenge myself and take risks, seize the day and don't give up, or else lead a life of regrets. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight and learned, too late, they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that night. I think Thompson is saying that we should all try to hold on to what little time we have, that before we know it, life slips by right in front of us, but to know that we must bask in every moment that we are given, and knowing this, if I don't leave Brisbane, I may never get the opportunity to again. A couple of years ago, in 2016, I was fortunate enough to travel to Ethiopia with my mum and sister. Upon arriving in Ethiopia, it was impossible not to notice how different life was compared to anything I had seen before. It had given me an entirely new outlook, like viewing the world with a different lens. I heard the driving rhythmic sounds of live singers and instruments I had never seen before. I witnessed the prowess of fierce dancers who tapped their feet and moved their body in time with the drums emanating deep within the earth. I sampled the complexity of sweet and bitter flavours and took part in the traditional ceremonies. I learnt about the expansive history of the country, and something awoke in me. Suddenly, Churchie, Brisbane, everything about my life seemed so dull and insignificant in comparison. I yearned to leave behind my old life and explore beyond Brisbane, to see other parts of the world, to look to the horizon and never stop looking. That was what I wanted more than anything. Another poem I also recently read in Year 12 English is the poem Carpe Diem by Robert Frost. It might appear that Carpe Diem by Frost is another poem that laments the importance of seizing each day, but there is also a deeper meaning, the idea that people are too overcome by the present to realize how fortunate they are, when all they can do is look to their future. Be happy, happy, happy. But the present is too much for the senses, too crowding, too confusing, too present to imagine. Frost is ultimately commenting on the futility of Carpe Diem, referring to those with happiness and the danger of them becoming overflooded. The implication of using such words paints a powerful image in the reader's mind. Those who in their ignorance longingly look to the future, as if tempted by a seductive power, are far too overflooded with their emotions each day that they never appreciate life in the moment. It is quite a despondent poem, and perhaps Frost refers to his own feelings of regret. I think I do agree with the poem. I think that I will try to look less into my future and truly live in all senses of the word each day. This reminded me of reading The Sorcerer's Stone in the Harry Potter series when I was around 8 years old. I remember staying up all night in my bed to read this book, under the blankets, shining a torchlight across the pages, and a quote stands out to me from Dumbledore. It does not do well to dwell on dreams and forget to live. I fear that my dreams to explore the world may be unrealistic fantasies of a child's imagination, that perhaps my aspirations to leave Brisbane should be treated as just that, a dream, nothing more, nothing less. I can honestly say I have no idea what I plan on doing when I finish school. Do I allow the part of me that seeks adventure to conquer the rational part of my brain? I do not know. But I know that I should focus on the present more and less about my future, and it is okay to not have reached a conclusion in my life at this current point in time, but Brisbane is okay for me where I am right now.